Over to you, Toastmaster.
Good morning, Toastmasters.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Good morning.
I welcome you all to the 206th meeting of Bright Beginning Toastmasters Club. And the mission of the Toastmasters Club is to provide positive and learning environment in which members are empowered to grow their communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and their personal growth. So, to run a smooth meeting, we have put some guidelines in place. Rule number one, please keep your phone on silent mode. If you haven't done that, you have 5 seconds to do that. Please keep your phone on silent mode. Please refrain yourself to talk about while the speaker is speaking or the host is managing. It might disturb uh, the host and speaker. Rule number three, please talk responsibly about politics and religion and sex. We are open to a healthy discussion. Now, please help me welcome the presiding officer for the today's meeting, Toastmaster Neetha. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ved. And I welcome all to one more Toastmaster Bright Beginnings meeting. Today we are going to listen to Toastmaster Ved when he walks through us to his theme. And also we'll be going through all the agenda that we have in the meeting. And as we don't have any guest, I'll make the stage. I'll give back the stage to team word of the day, Toastmaster Ved. Toastmaster Ved. A big round of applause for him.
Thank you, Toastmaster Neetha. So, for the today's theme is the pyramid principle, and it is based on a book written by Barbara Minto. She was a consultant in McKinsey. So today we will focus this pyramid principle is about logic and thinking in writing and the verbal communication. So we will cover basically how do we structure our thoughts, how in written and verbal communication, so that we can present our ideas clearly, cohesively, and in a concise manner. And this is going to be interesting topic. And if you want to take some key takeaway from this today's session is that we do not need to afraid of the pyramid principle and understand it deeply enough so that we can define and use it properly in verbal and written communication. And today we all have Toastmasters members and we do not have any guests. Uh, uh, Otherwise, I would have described the typical structure of the meeting. So let's proceed further without wasting any time. And before I start, like I, if there is anyone who wants to like give some expectation or any idea about like maybe I could answer those questions in the material that I'm going to talk about, please feel free. You have a 5 seconds before I start.
5 seconds to think at least.
No, before to raise the hand. Otherwise, I would consider uh, the question will come later. Okay, so in
I have
today's
a question. I have a question.
sure, sure, yeah,
So, how do we use pyramid principle in
yes.
creating presentations for top executives?
Okay. Okay. I will keep in mind this question, and if this doesn't get answered throughout the presentation, then we will take this question uh, in the last slide. Uh, Before we proceed further, to give you just rough idea about, we will talk about what is pyramid principle and why do we use it, uh, the structure of the pyramid principle, well, then what are the building blocks of these pyramids? And then we will go over some examples to understand more how can we when we put this structure into our content, and then we will go over some mistakes and conclusion, and there will be a Q&A session. Before I proceed further, please help me welcome the general evaluator for today's meeting, and that is none other than Toastmaster Meng. I invite Toastmaster Meng over to the stage to briefly explain about the roles and his team. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ved. So, as a general evaluator, my object, I'm audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Yes.
Okay. As a general evaluator, it is my prerogative to evaluate the proceedings of the meeting and make sure that all the role players are given feedback and are maintaining the role. No problems, no problems. Okay, sometimes that happens with Toastmaster Ved. And to do this evaluation program of general evaluation, I am not alone. I am being accompanied by Toastmaster Anshuman, who's going to give an feedback to Toastmaster Shaunak after his icebreaker speech. And we remember that it's a tradition of the club that once a person gives an icebreaker, we give him or her a standing ovation. Along with me in my tag team, which is the timer and the R counter and gradient role, I have Toastmaster Neetal, who's playing in the timer role. I request Toastmaster Neetal to please come on stage and explain her role, please.
As we all know, time is the most important factor in life. Everything we can get back, but not the lost time. And every great speech and every impromptu speech has to be timed. So I'll be playing a timer role today. For the speaker, the icebreaker speech by Shanuk, he will be giving for 5 to 7 minutes. So at 4 minutes, I'll raise a green card. At 5, I'll raise a yellow card. And at 6 minutes, I'll raise a red card. And for the table topics, the minimum time will be 2 minutes 30 seconds. And for 1 minute, I'll raise a green card. 1 minute 30 seconds, I'll raise an yellow card. And for 2 minutes, I'll raise a red card. So with this, I'll give back the stage to our general evaluator of the day, Toastmaster Mank.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster. Let me. Time is 1 minute on table topics, and you have a grace of 30 seconds on the upper side, so which means that a speaker can speak up to 2 minutes 30 seconds. Is the video clear or is it distorted? Okay, I think it's clear.
Video is clear.
Okay, great. And for the evaluation section, which Toastmaster Anshuman is going to do, the timing is going to be 2 to 3 minutes. At 2 minutes, you will have the green card, 2 minutes 30 seconds the yellow, and at 3 minutes the red card, and he have another 30 seconds to wrap up. Now on the stage, I would like to welcome our language evaluator, which is Toastmaster Anshuman, to explain his role.
Thanks a lot, Toastmaster Mayank. So today I'll be playing the role of a language evaluator. So the role of language evaluator in a Toastmaster meeting entails being the R counter and the grammarian. I'll start with the part of the grammarian. As a grammarian, I'll be noting down the good usages and not so good usages of our meeting today. So I suggest you fill my notepad with a lot of good usages in your respective roles for the morning. And my role as a grammarian is also to share the word of the day, which we'll be using in today's meeting. And the word of the day for today is lucrative. Lucrative means it's something described as lucrative produces money or wealth. That's an interesting understanding I had, that the word lucrative is used in the context where something produces money or wealth. For example, the author parlayed the success of her books into a lucrative second career as a public speaker. I suggest we use the word lucrative in all our speeches and role plays and increase wealth alongside. Secondly, as an R counter, I'll be noting down any filler words or sounds which we use in our role today. So my suggestion will be that you pause after a sentence or just shut your mouth in a respectful manner after each sentence or paragraph so that any filler word or sound does not come out of when you are speaking. I look forward to a productive meeting. I hand over the stage back to our general evaluator, Toastmaster Mayank.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Anshuman. In fact, having a second career is always a lucrative option, but please do watch out for your company policies before you do that. Right. So now, with this, we hand over the stage to our Toastmaster today, Toastmaster Ved, to talk us more on the pyramid principle. Back to you, Toastmaster Ved.
Okay, thanks, General Evaluator. And now let's proceed further with the pyramid principle. Let me briefly explain the pyramid principle. Pyramid principle, it has a literal meaning, like the pyramid that we see, where the top part of the pyramid is your main idea. And after the main idea, you present your key arguments. And after the key arguments, it will be supported by other your supportive arguments or any other data that you want to present. That's what it is in a very brief terms. So we will dive deep in the next slide more. Why use pyramid principle? We already know it is a tool for a concise, cohesive, and a better communication. It brings the clarity, a logical flow, and persuasiveness and efficiency, which saves the time for both reader and the presenter. Many times we come across the article and we find that we get lost and we think about it and then we reread it again. That is uh, that is because our mind is not able to keep up uh, with the pace or the ideas that reader want us to have. But it would be very easier when it is presented in a pyramid principle. So the structure of the pyramid that I already spoken about, it is that your top will be the main idea or the conclusion that you want to start with, then the key arguments and the supporting details and the data. So this is how it will look. Now let's proceed to how do we like start the building the pyramid. And whenever we start writing, we need to have a clear idea that what is the question that we want to answer that will arise, or that will that the question that will be raised by the reader. So you start with the main idea, the question. Here you will put your message or the conclusion in a clearest form. And then in step 2, what you will do is you will start supporting your arguments. You will think about what are the supporting arguments that will answer the question or that will facilitate the conclusion or the message that you started with. And there are multiple ways to organize your arguments. They will be the part of your recommendation. They can be supported as reasons. They can be supported as chronological way. After that, in step 3, what you will do is each argument you will support with more relevant data, more relevant details, because your each supporting argument itself can be your next sub key arguments. And in step 4, what you will each time you will check that there is a logical flow and the coherence in the argument that you have raised. And so I will not waste any time before I move to the examples that will make it very clear. But before that, let's have a speech section, and today's speech will be delivered by Toastmaster Shaunak, and it is his icebreaker speech. And for each icebreaker speech, after the icebreaker speech, uh, we encourage the enthusiasm by the speaker by standing up. So please keep that in my mind. That in mind. And now, please help me welcome the evaluator of this speech. That is none other than Toastmaster Mayank, right?
Anshuman.
Okay, Toastmaster Anshuman, please briefly explain the evaluation objectives.
Thanks a lot, Toastmaster Ved. The Toastmaster Shaunak will bravely be presenting his icebreaker speech to all of us. The icebreaker speech entails the member introducing himself to the club in 4 to 6 minutes. The purpose of the icebreaker speech will be for us to get to know Toastmaster Shaunak, and I hope by the end of the speech we are more aware of what Toastmaster Shaunak stands for. Timer, please note that the timing for the speech is going to be 4 to 6 minutes. I look forward to Toastmaster Shaunak's speech. Over to you, Toastmaster Ved.
Thank you, Toastmaster Anshuman. Now I hand over the stage back to the Toastmaster Shaunak. Over to you, Toastmaster Shaunak. We are not able to hear anything.
Myself.
Yeah, we can hear now. Toastmaster Shaunak, do you want to do an audio video check?
Audio check. Am I audible?
Perfect. If you can stand a bit behind. Yeah, a bit. Yeah, this is perfect. Thank you.
So am I audible now? Is it okay?
All good. All the best.
Perfect. So let me introduce you today who is Shaunak Mathur. Born and brought up in Kota, place in Kota, which is in Rajasthan, to a Mathur family. My father is a doctor. My mother is a housewife. Being the eldest in from the paternal side, I was the most loved one and the naughty, equally says without says goes to it. Uh, how can I say that I was very naughty? Let me give you a few examples of it. Everyone who have come across, who has seen my childhood, and when they come and meet me, not a single person has said, "Oh, is this the child who was very shy, timid, or very sober when he was a child?" But the statement that they used to get, "Oh, is he the same child who used to be very naughty?" Um, you know, I know it's very disheartening to hear that, but yeah, I accept the fact now, that I used to be very naughty when I was a child, and so am I now. So we were in a, I'll say I was privileged that we live in a community culture where there were bhaiyas and didis all around, where we used to celebrate all the festivals, be with, friends all the day during our summer vacations. Every festival was like a event for us where we used to prepare it days in advance. I remember for Diwali, I used to get crackers and things almost a month before, and we used to start celebrating the event well in advance. Mom used to cook so much of sweets and snacks, and we used to devour on that. And that's the profound memories of my childhood that I still carry with me, and I'll carry till the end of my life. And that was the best moment of my life I can think of. Moving on from that childhood era to the teenage era, I was in the all boys school, and you can think that time, Shah Rukh Khan was the symbol of the romance. And after watching those movies and all, we used to all fascinate about, oh my God. And kicking that teenage age, the emotions and or I'll say the hormonal changes, you also start thinking like, oh, you're not less than Shah Rukh Khan. You start getting the female attention, all your focus and things, start hanging around that, staying in that era. watching those movies, build your perception, thoughts. Okay, that this is the most beautiful thing apart from everything else. And what your parents are telling you to steady, focus on your career takes a backstage because all your friends and everyone around that, is into that zone, and that takes you away, drift away from what your focus area could be at that point in time. But thankfully, we all are in a great shape today, for this great degrees and all. Then I took my entrance into the engineering, and we were very fascinated by the movies, the way they used to show how the college life used to be, where they are hanging around with friends, doing all sort of adventure except the studies. And that was a nightmare for me, when I stepped into the engineering, and it was the very first day. I saw my notice board with 9 classes, starting from the morning until late evening, used to have those classes. And as a written gift, we used to get a hell lot of homework or the projects, which was impossible to finish in such a short span of time where you are already dead tired after spending such a hectic day. And that used to be the curricular for the next 4 or 5 years by the time you'll be done with your engineering. So coping up with that scenario where you have a semester system and every 6 months you have a semester coming up with 5, 6 subjects. Apart from that, you have a regular tests, practicals, followed up by that. So that was very disappointing for me because what they used to show in the movies, the actual life was way different from what we were in. But thankfully, because of that steady pressure, exams and all, we didn't really get to know, when we entered into the engineering, when we, passed that one. But the real test was about to begin when you get into a corporate world, because there you'll be racing against with the million of people who have passed out in that same year, or the people who have not got the job, and that time the markets were not that great even, but thankfully got the job. And then we actually understand, we used to crib about the studies and things, but when you look back, you see that was the best time of your life, that you have already come through, and now you are into the actual world where you have your responsibilities, you have to take care of the lot of things. Then with my first job, I met my wife there, and we were colleagues then, and eventually, we moved ahead and got into a relation where we got married few years later, and now I have 2 kids. But when I look back and when I see my kids doing the same thing I used to do, I feel, how naughty I was, and I get irritated the way, if they're repeating the same thing, but that's how the life is. And now I can see what my parents used to feel, because I now feel the same way, the way they do things and all. But that's the beauty, where you see your kids growing up doing the same repeat telecast of what you had done when you were a kid. Uh, but that's how life is. It's like, what goes around comes around. And thank you so much with this. I will like to hand over it back to the Toastmaster mind. Thank you.
Uh, Thank you, Toastmaster Shonak. Uh, okay, let's everybody please stand up. Okay. Thank you, Toastmaster Shonak. That was a wonderful speech, and now you have 1 minute to give the feedback to the speaker. Okay, let's get started. Now, before I give the examples, and one thing we always have to remember is that the controlling the sequence in which you present your ideas to the audience is the most important thing. And the clearest sequence is always to give or summarizing the idea before you start giving the individual idea. That is something that is what happens when when reader expects, right, this is something the writer is going to talk about, and so he always have something in my mind, in their mind. And if you don't summarize the main idea, what happens is that as all of us, we have a natural tendency to look for similarities between the sentences. And if you don't give your message, if you don't give to your audience that, hey, this is what I'm going to talk about, then the reader or the audience, they will start finding the relationship. And many times it happens that is not the message, that is not the conclusion that you want to give. So we will go over this example. This is a business proposal, and everybody can read it. Then we will move to the after version, what will happen if you use the pyramid principle. This is a proposal. Our company has a long history of innovation and high quality products. We are currently facing increased competition in the market. Our research shows a growing demand for eco-friendly products. We propose launching a new line of eco-friendly products to capture this market. Anyone who want to like have a doubt or like brief what they feel about these 4 lines, and when they first read the first line, what was the idea and the thought in their mind before reading the next sentences? Anyone? Okay, I will talk about me. When I first read this sentence, I didn't know like what is that author is going to talk about. So I was looking for the next sentences. When I got to the next sentence, I was looking for the next interesting something to come out. Then finally, like I got to know, oh, this is why the like author was trying to say. Now, if you use the pyramid principle, this is what happens. You give your main idea, your conclusion, you summarize it well. You say, we propose the launching a new line of eco-friendly products to capture the growing market demand. This was your main idea. As soon as you give this main idea, the person who is important, like the pyramid principle, I forgot to tell you, this pyramid principle most effective in the business and the corporate world. Whenever we always trying to influence, we are always trying to uh, agree to our proposal, or we also want to give some information, or we want to say, we want to create how to documents. That is where you can leverage this pyramid principle. And if you give your stakeholder this line, they will know, yes, you have something, and now they will, you give reasons for those or arguments for those. Then as you can see, the arguments are, our research shows a growing demand for eco-friendly products. Our company has a long history of innovation and high quality products, and we are currently facing increased competition in the market. So you gave your main idea, your conclusion, why this document is relevant, why the audience should listen to you. You gave the main idea, and then you supported with your 3 key arguments. And then in the next part, you can build on each of your key arguments. You can give more supporting details, and then you can create the whole draft about it. And while we create the pyramid principle, we also need to think about anyone who has a 30 seconds get to know that what you are going to talk about. So anyone, if read this line, will get to know this, what will this document will be about. So before I move on to the next example, let's have the very interesting table topic section. And to head that section, please help me invite Toastmaster Neetal. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ved. Interesting topic and intriguing. Would love to read the book as well. So here we are, the most interesting section of the day, of the meeting, table topics. So table topics helps us in doing an doing an impromptu speaking where a topic would be given and the speaker has to speak it for 1 to 2.5 minutes, minimum 2 minutes. So everyone can try to achieve that. And I'll for sure make that I give an interesting topic so that you can speak. So I would like to start with Toastmaster and Shuman.
Sure, Toastmaster meeting.
Community service, necessary or fun? Toastmaster and Shuman, community services, necessary or fun?
Community service. What is the first imagery or feeling that I and we get when we talk about community service? The feeling that I get is of gratitude. Whenever I have got a chance to do community service, later I've always been full of gratitude, be it going to an NGO and serving the kids or going to a temple and serving food to the needy. Doing that service always has led me to the feeling of gratitude. However, the question pertains, is it necessary or is it a construct which is temporary? For me, it feels that community service definitely is something that helps the individuals at the moment when we do the service. For example, I go to an NGO, help the kids out with teaching them a subject. It will help them with the subject at that moment for a short span of time. At the same time, it is not a systemic solution. For me, a bigger gratitude will be if the school can become great so that I am not required to do the service at all. That the needy have enough food so that I do not have to distribute food to them on a temporary basis. So overall, till the system improves, community service can be helpful, can be essential on those sporadic moments when it is of help. However, overall, it will be helpful for me to see the system improve so that the community service is not required at all. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster Neetu.
Thank you, Toastmaster and Shuman. And I definitely agree to the point. That's, if system improves, there won't be any person sleeping hungry and we don't have to do the community service. So next we'd like to call Toastmaster Mayank. Toastmaster Mayank, how do you balance priorities? Toastmaster Mayank, how do you balance priorities?
Balancing tough tasks. I may have workload, I may have family load, and then there is a Toastmaster load. But my friends, balancing is also an art because you need to take each of them together. For example, if I take only work, 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 then family gets neglected. And then when I want to look at only family, 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 then there is no work. So it has to be balanced. And the art of balancing is by planning your time, your commitment, your obligations between what is urgent, important, not urgent, not important, and what is fun for you. For example, Toastmaster meetings are fun element for me because I look at it as a community service, bringing in the community together, be it involving my neighbor or my tenant, so that I'm able to spread the happiness or the uh, element that I'm working for. Reaching out to Toastmasters and potential guests gives me that happiness that, oh, I break an ice with somebody. I'm enhancing my persuasion skills. Of course, I'm not as good as Toastmaster Pratik is in persuading people, but converting one guest into a customer, which means into a Toastmaster member, brings that confidence in me that, oh, tomorrow if I have to go for a sales pitch from my organization, I will be able to give them convincing number. If I can't subscribe, convince people to become a Toastmaster member, how would I be able to get them sell lakhs and crores of projects to them? So it is my little baby steps. And balancing all of this really gives me the art. Of course, right now my family and my nephew and niece are about to arrive at home and they'll be thinking, Babu, you are again in a Toastmaster meeting? It gives me fun. I like to enjoy that. It is my time. I can't give all my time to everybody and leave no time for myself. Back to you, Table Topic Master.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mank. A lot to learn from you, and definitely a way to live a happy life is to balance everything. I'll just note down your time. So next will be Toastmaster Ved.
Yeah.
Sorry, sir.
Toastmaster Needle? Sorry, Toastmaster Needle, can you just make sure do that timer? Please don't switch it off in between because people are not able to ascertain that
Okay,
whether
sure.
it's yellow, green, or blue. If you're keeping a background, just continue the same background. Yeah?
Okay, sure.
Thanks.
Okay.
Confusion, absolutely.
Toastmaster Ved, what culture beliefs influence you? Toastmaster Ved, what culture beliefs influence you?
Okay. So the topic is what cultural belief.
Influence you.
When we talk about the culture and the importance of it, what I see it as amalgamation of like many years and learning from that, and that becomes part of your culture. And the, any culture ritual or uh, uh, it will impact your life, it will influence you. One of the thing that I like about the culture, so let's talk about the culture of India. The culture in the Indian culture, while we have so many differences, still we are united as a whole country. There have been many things being written about India that we can't believe that there are so uh, many difference in Indian culture. Still, they are united by it. And why do we have that? Is because it has been ingrained in our culture, where we learn to appreciate the differences within ourselves and become part of one. And that is one of the things that I really like, and it influences everybody's life, where you learn to appreciate the other people's thought and without having offended. And sometimes it happens that we still get offended, right? But we always, our culture reminds us of that we can all still can live together and still can enjoy, and we can still be the best country in the world. Although there is a long way to go, but uh, there but it's not something that is not achievable. We all should strive for it, because our culture is what makes us strong. And let's appreciate it and let's move forward. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster Nita.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ved. Yes, India has a diverse culture and we can learn from every culture something or other and implement in our life. So last but not the least, Toastmaster Shanuk.
Shaunak.
Shaunak. Shaunak. It will take some time. Toastmaster Shaunak, how do you handle conflicts? Toastmaster Shaunak, how do you handle conflicts?
Can't hear you. Can't hear you. वो आपको आई थिंक हटाना पड़ेगा, वो चिपक गया वो। हाँ ना, या
How do I handle conflicts? Well, conflicts are part of our day-to-day life. Conflicts between husband, wife, conflict with your manager, conflict with your colleagues, conflict with your friends. Well, how I see conflict, it's a difference in opinion, all that I can see. And the way I like to handle it, because you cannot drive or force someone to act upon your wish or as per your own opinion. You cannot drive a person. So, but there, I feel there is always a workaround or a middle path that will be a win-win situation for both the parties. Because if you are hell bent, to go things your way, that will never happen. And if a person is in a same position, definitely that will only increase the conflict. So you just have to figure out the right proposition that can give a win-win situation for both the parties and will not create an unfavorable condition where that conflict will get into a more intense fight or a discussion. And that's how I see. And where I see people who are in that zone or area, I prefer to change my path or change my way. There could be a scenario where I'll be at loss, but that's okay. I mean, that can help me going for a in a more difficult situation at a later stage, if I continue dealing with such people. And that's the strategy I follow in my day-to-day life. And thank you so much. I pass it back to Toastmaster Mike.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shaunak. So it was great hearing all of you, and we'll give back the stage to our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Ved.
Thank you, Toastmaster Nitin, for this wonderful table topic section. Now let's come back to our T-Mode's theme, the pyramid principle. We have just looked at how can you reprise your business proposal, and then we have seen the after and before version. And now we can move to the next example. Before that, if anyone has a question, maybe like why did we do that way, or like it doesn't making any sense. Okay, good to go. Let's look at another example to reinforce what is the pyramid principle. And this is the project report, and we can read it. The project aims to improve customer satisfaction. We have identified several key areas for improvement. Our team conducted surveys and interviews with customers. The feedback indicates a need for better customer support and faster response times. We recommend implementing a new customer support system. This, although this looks better than the previous example, like it has a like coherence structure, but it can be enhanced using the pyramid principle, and it can become better effective than this version as well. So this is the after version. Here you start with your main idea and the conclusion. We recommend implementing a new customer support system to improve customer satisfaction. Then you briefly explain your key arguments, and in the similar way of example one, we add supporting details and data. So what do you think? Like, do you think the second version, after version, is better than the previous version, or maybe the previous version was better?
second version is better for me.
Yes, second version is somewhat like better than the previous version because it starts with a message. It directly holds the audience attention or your stakeholders attention that this is your main message. Now I will focus on the why part of it. Now, this is not the only way the pyramid principle can be represented. Right now, we just started with the key idea, then we started with the key arguments. You can also add your background or the introduction part of the project report, depending on your stakeholders. Maybe your stakeholder is not very well acquainted with the project report, or there you can add introduction part. You can briefly explain like what is thing that we are talking about and what this project is all about. When you give that background details, then you start with your main idea. So I can talk about how can you enhance your introduction part in like next or like in the future sessions. Today we will focus on the critical parts of the pyramid principle. So this is the same way like we have looked at the example 1 and example 2. So in the same way, there is example 3 where we have a previous version. We don't know what is the message to look for. And then in the after version, we start again with the main idea. Then we are supporting using the key arguments and then again the supporting details. Now, before we move to the next thing, now please help me invite the Toast Master Mayank to start the evaluation section where we will listen the evaluation of the speaker's speeches. Back to the general evaluator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster and Ved, for that handing over the stage to me. With now we move into the evaluation sections, and first let's hear from the speech evaluator of by Toastmaster Anshuman, giving a feedback to Toastmaster Shaunak on his icebreaker speech.
Thanks a lot, Toastmaster Mayank. First of all, congratulations, Toastmaster Shaunak. You were brave enough to come on the stage and present your icebreaker speech to all of us. After your icebreaker speech, our goal was to learn about you, your personality, and your life. And did you succeed in giving a speech which covered all these purpose points? In your own terms, hell yes. Definitely. We got to know how naughty you were, be it in a childhood, and you also shared that that naughtiness is still within you when you see your kids being naughty. So definitely, that's one takeaway for me that Toastmaster Shaunak is pretty naughty, and how we can utilize your naughtiness within Toastmasters, we will discover. Another facet you talked about is the life in engineering college and how it compared to the Bollywood life, of how it's shown in movies, inspiration from Shah Rukh Khan, which I believe would have impacted a lot of us. So definitely weaving the story around your college life, sharing the personality type of being naughty, and also talking about how your journey over the years happened. So definitely your strength clearly visible is your ability to tell stories. For the next speech, you may want to challenge yourself as it is the ritual of Toastmasters meeting where we take up one challenge every meeting and improve upon it next time to make it better. As we will learn from the R counter report and the grammarian report, it is suggested that we write down our speeches and get it audited by our mentor. How it helps in the initial stages is that the flow of the speech, if written, helps in bringing the words and the flow, which is seamless. Right now, we could see you had a conversational tone, you were talking to us, you had a lot of narratives, and you really wanted to share the stories which were close to your heart. At the same time, if you write down your script and in the initial days or in general try to memorize some elements of it, that will bring the structure and coherence, which is integral part of a powerful speech. So my only suggestion for you for your second speech will be to write down the script, share it with your mentor, which is Toastmaster Mayan, get it audited and try to memorize it and then speak. It's a challenge, but it's a challenge which will help you enhance your speech to much greater degree than it is today. Overall, great storytelling. You fulfill the purpose of the speech by sharing your personality type, your anecdotes from your college, inspiration from Bollywood movies. To challenge yourself next time, my suggestion will be to write down your script, memorize it to maintain the flow. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster Man.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Sean's speech. Uh, Moving on to the tag roles, may I request Toastmaster Needle to present the time report?
Thank you, Toastmaster Anshuman. Sorry, Mayank. Uh, What's the speech timing? Shanuk took 6 minutes to
Shaunak.
complete his speech.
Toastmaster Shaunak.
Toastmaster Shaunak. Toastmaster Shaunak took 6 minutes. Coming to table topics, Toastmaster Anshuman took 1 minute 1 minute 50 seconds. Toastmaster Mayank spoke for 2 minutes 14 seconds. Toastmaster Ved spoke for 2 minutes, and Toastmaster Shaunak spoke for 1 minute 45 seconds. Back to you, General Evaluator of the Day, Toastmaster Mayank.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Needle, for the timer report. Moving on to the language evaluator report from Toastmaster Anshuman.
All right, coming to my language evaluation, I'll start with the R counter report. Overall, Toastmaster Mayank was almost flawless, delivering his table topic, general evaluation elements precisely 2 hours, which can be easily rectified. Toastmaster Neetal, as a presiding officer and table topic master, again, no visible elements of filler words and sounds, so definitely no area of concern. Same goes for Toastmaster Ved, good command over sharing the presentation today in your pyramid principle presentation. Toastmaster Shaunak, first attempt, long way to go, 2, 3 awkward pauses, 3, 4 hours. The trick to master that is that after each sentence, we have to not let air pass through our mouth because it comes out as a sound. It comes through practice that we pause after each sentence and close our mouth. So that is it from my end on the R counter report. Coming to the grammarian report, we had quite a few good usages and a few not so good usages. So word of the day was used once by Toastmaster Mayank. Coming to good usages, we had profound memories. Oh my God, build your perception. Then we had out of balance, spread the happiness. These were some good usages for the meeting today. Phrases which can be improved the next time include into the engineering could have been eliminated altogether, or it could have been into the course or in the course actually, because into the engineering phase is not connecting. Hell lot of can be different adjective can be used for hell, which is like maybe look at a synonym to express a high degree of attachment there. And we had steadfast into could have been steadfast in. Thank you. It was good being your language evaluator for the morning. Over to you, Toastmaster Man.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Anshuman, for the report. Really appreciate that. Okay, as a G report, I'll begin with my report on Toastmaster Ved on the as a Toastmaster of the day. Sorry, first the meeting started about 5 minutes late because of sudden a certain role players not making up. But it is commendable that other role players pitched in and took up 2 or 3 roles and to have a successful meeting and with quality output being delivered by each one of them. Toastmaster Ved, in your topic that you talked about, the pyramid principle. I thought it's going to be something more complex with respect to data and structure. And thanks for highlighting that it was given by the author Barbara Minto. You gave a reference to the author, and that what you're talking about is based on a book. Uh, and that really establishes that this was not your own thought, but a reference drawn from somebody's work. Um, you talked about the pyramid, but it would have been great that one slide that you had, which was slide number 6, right, which is on the pyramid structure. That one slide should have been there on the screen, and rest we should be talking. Avoid a joint reading session with people, right? Your core message or element should be that, okay, you're talking about the whole pyramid, you have 4 slices to it, and then you're talking about one slide at a time. That, okay, this is a pyramid, and let's talk about one element, and maybe your uh, outline coming and going, and that you're talking about the first section, the main idea, the second idea, that flipping, and that gives relevance, and people are then engaged to hear you more than reading what the content is. See, if you are doing a joint reading, people will read and then say, all right, I have read it. And because the author is also going to, the speaker is going to speak the same element, there is no curiosity left to give attention to your speech, right? Which you will feel maybe in some meetings that people are not really engaged because they already know what you're going to talk about, right? So just try to have that slide 6, presented, and then do your talking, and you will feel that change in you and people really looking up to you in the speech than looking at the presentation, right? The speaker is more important, and the presentation is only an aid to work and support you. Also, when giving a presentation, you should give it in a full slideshow mode and avoid an outline view, because then I really know that, okay, what are the various elements and how heavy the text is going to be, right? And if you skip a slide, it is obvious to people that, oh, you skipped up the slide. For example, I don't remember seeing slide 6 being presented ever, right? But from the outline, I could see that there is a slide 6 which had that pyramid view. That Toastmasters, you're thinking that, oh my God, what eyes you have. But yeah, I think, all right. Next was yeah. Also on your slide, maybe you could have, if you're using a slide, try and keep a uniform spacing and size of the text. Uh, this will elevate your communication uh, much to a next level, and the size is large enough for people to see. Right? If people have to squint their eyes and really get into the screen, it makes the presentation um, fail. On Toastmaster Shaunak, on your icebreaker, I think you brought on the various elements of your life in terms of a childhood, teenage, your college and corporate, and then a brief introduction about the family. Uh, you could have picked up more smaller options in your life that gives you that, hey, I was a naughty, bring in some elements of voice modulation. Considering this was your first speech, formal speech, I think you did fantastic here. Over a period of time, realize or seek opportunities. How can you make it more witty, quick, humor, uh, emotion, bring in elements of drama cells, right? That's why Star Plus is acing. Okay, with respect to timer, I request you that please make sure that you're changing the background of the timer cards appropriately. There were instances where there was yellow color coming in before green. So a best practice is you put your timer cards as sequence as 1, 2, and 3, 1 green, 2 yellow, and 3 red, so that when you're changing your colors or you're selecting it, it's coming in that order in your screen selection mode. And the backgrounds, if you're changing the background, it should be then up for the whole of the time, uh, so that the reader or the speaker is able to see. In a physical meeting setup, we are facing more challenge because we have a large audience area to look and connect, and the timer card is coming as a very small background, right? So that's an area for you to work upon. All right. So now coming to the table topic evaluation, I think my project was really challenging, and I realized that I need to have a more active listening skills, and I need to enhance that. So Toastmaster Anshuman, your table topic was community service, necessary of fun. You talked about a very important element, which was gratitude and helping others. The element that one you talked about was when you help an individual, it helps them immediately. It could depend on what kind of community service you are doing. For example, if somebody is in a community service of making sure that the area is clean of garbage, etc., there's not going to be direct benefit. So you should keep in those elements of, depending on the situation, it could have an immediate relief where I'm giving and imparting somebody an education. If you, let's say, teaching somebody how to speak better, it may not give them a direct benefit, or nor the individual, but it gives the individual a sense of satisfaction of what you're talking about. You propose the uh, on as contrary to the topic of community service, necessary or fun. What I felt the message was is that why do I need to do community service? Why can't the whole system be up and perfect so that community service is not required, right? So it actually went in as community service, should it exist or not exist? My that's personal my interpretation. On Toastmaster Ved of your topic, what cultural belief influences you? You talked about elections and how India is diverse, and you talked about cultures. But the question was specific to what cultural belief influences you and not India's culture. So, hearing the topic right is important, and I think all need to up our listening skills here. Um, Here, Toastmaster Shaunak, your topic was how do I hand how do you handle conflicts? You talked about the various situations where conflicts are between husband and a wife. You could have added in some emotion and drama. There is quarrels between husband and wife, and the manager and the subordinate. So that people are able to respond and relate. You gave a lot on generic of how conflicts should be resolved, and not a specific situation where you resolved a conflict. The question was, how do you handle conflicts? You talked about certain elements of our example that it has to be win-win situation, and I try to move away from the situation and give it like that. A recommended approach for such a situation will be a star approach, where you talk about a situation, that this was a situation, this was the task, this is how action I took, and this is the result. So, for example, I was in a conflict with uh, my team member over whether this project is going to work or not. The task that I took was I gathered data of to support the argument and maybe picked up relevance or elements of what Toastmaster Ved was talking about, the pyramid approach. So you would have quickly applied that pyramid approach there. And you said that with presenting this, the action was that the conflict, my team member or my colleague got convinced on the approach, and the result was that the conflict was resolved and it was amicably resolved. With respect to our counter and the language evaluator, I think Toastmaster Anshuman did a fantastic job there. And I, with this, I think I would like to end the general evaluation section. Thank you, and back to you, Toastmaster Ved, to complete the proceedings of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, General Evaluator, for the thorough evaluation of the meeting. So now we have covered about the pyramid principle, and then we went over some examples. Now I would like to take the opportunity if anyone has any questions, and then we can proceed further. Any
Can you give
questions?
a generic example, like how do we apply it on day-to-day life?
I think the pyramid principle is mostly effective in the business communication, wherever we need to write documents, or when we need to convince someone, when we want to create effective communication, effective documents, maybe we want to write a report for our proposal. That is when you can use it. Even in day-to-day life, I find it a bit difficult to get some example. But in many settings, what essentially the idea is that you give your main idea for anyone. So maybe just like Toastmaster, Mayank gave example in the evaluation section there, when the Toastmaster Shonak was speaking, he could have directly gave the how did he resolve the conflict resolution, and then he talked about the how part of it. So maybe the basic idea is you just pinpoint your attention to a main key argument, and then you build on from there. Otherwise what will happen is you start, you don't know what is your sentence, why your first sentence exists. Then the reader who reads that document then find that yes, the next sentence relate to the previous sentence, and they need to think in their mind that what is the relationship exist. So that is the way, whenever we write something, we can leverage this pyramid principle. So that's it from my team mode section today. And Toastmaster Anshuman, you were saying something?
Clapping for you.
Okay, clapping. Okay, that's it for my report. Now we can conclude the meeting, and
Over to Toastmaster Neetu.
oh yeah, over to the Toastmaster Nita.
This was an amazing meeting, and a big round of applause for Toastmaster Mayank. A wonderful evaluation feedback and lot to take away from his each and every critical feedback that he has given us. Yes, usually we drift away from our table topics and we speak more on generic stuff rather than focusing on the topic in hand. So I believe we should get into practice of listening to the topic, take 5 seconds gap, and then start speaking by constructing the ideas. And it would only come with practice. And I believe every one of us will have to take up this as challenge and do our best when we have the contest this year. And we should be the winners in the area and the division. With this, I like to conclude the meeting for today. And